All right, everybody, and welcome in to day 20 of Diddy or Didn't He. That's right, day 20. I'm Pugs Moran. Welcome to RadioMisfits.com. We do this every night, break down all of the details as they emerge out of the federal courthouse there in Manhattan, the trial of rap and business entrepreneur, record label guy. He owns a lot of stuff. He's a billionaire, they say. The trial of Sean Diddy Combs. The prosecution would have us believe that he's a sex trafficker and a crime boss, and they've got him charged up the wazoo. 20 days ago when this thing started, we were all like, okay, let's see it. Let's prove it. Let's see what we got here. We are 20 days in, folks, and today was another devastating day for the prosecution. The prosecution, I stopped earlier in the week tallying the score. I think I stopped, it was like 14 wins, 14 positive days for the defense, 1 or 2 for the prosecution, and then we had a couple of ties on cross-examination days. Or I mean, a couple of ties on days where the prosecution was doing direct examination. Prosecution's got to get wins on days when they're calling the shots and directing the narrative. That's a win day for them. So a tie on a day like that, you may as well just call that a victory for the defense. Well, today was no different. It started off with really bad news for the prosecution. A major decision by Judge Aram Subramaniam fell in favor of the defense. The judge overseeing Combs' trial ruled Tuesday that the feds, the prosecutors, cannot call a psychologist back to the stand she's already been up on the stand. They want to bring her back. And the judge said, no, you can't bring her back. Come on, let's go. This is what I love about this guy. I've been saying this from the beginning. He is keeping this trial on track. We're going to have a 6-week trial. He's going to bring us in under budget and on time. And this is just exactly some of the nonsense. So they had this person up there. Now they want to bring him back and they want to do another session with him. And the judge had to rule on that. The judge overseeing Combs' trial ruled Tuesday that the prosecution cannot call a psychologist back to the stand to explain why domestic violence victims stay with their abusers. So it was going to be one of these things, right? One of these, we've all heard it. We've all watched Oprah, Dr. Phil, Sally, Jesse, whatever. Why they stay today on Sally, we don't need that, okay? We don't need that nonsense. I think it's clear from all of the testimony that we've heard from the victims, it's clear why they stayed. They stayed because, aside from what they're claiming to be abuse and subjugation and all of these terrible, terrible, very serious things that a lot of people right now are going through in this world, you got this Instagram model taking the stand who, when things got tough, she had to resort to OnlyFans in order to make her $10,000 a month rent. And remember, we learned yesterday, she's suing Diddy for money in a separate case because, the $10,000 that he's paying her for her rent still, that doesn't cover all the expensive furniture that she has in her free house. So we should all be angry about the sex trafficking. Excuse me. Because sex trafficking is a real thing. And it's underage kids in the back of fucking shipping containers from Taiwan to where. That's what we should be going after. Not Sean Diddy Combs and a bunch of girls who wanted to be pop stars, who he said, I can make you a star. That's what this is. And should, as I've said from the beginning, should there be a penalty for the way he has behaved? Absolutely, there should be. But unfortunately, the prosecution is not pursuing those charges. They are pursuing much larger charges that would ensure incredible careers for the prosecution. Oh, they're going to go off to be governor. They'll run. I'm the person who put Diddy behind jail for life. That's what they're imagining. And they're falling so incredibly short. So the judge this morning, he ruled in favor of the defense, saying, are you out of your mind? We're not going to, you're going to have somebody come up here, do a Dr. Phil episode so that we can all hear for the millionth time why these girls stay. Why do they stay with their abusers? Well, I don't know what the case is for the girl that's chained inside the shipping container. I'm thinking it might have something to do with chains, but that's not the same. It's not the same as these girls who were under contract to Bad Boy Records. It's not the same. And it should be really disgusting to anybody who actually cares about the issue of sex trafficking. Watch Diddy. Diddy's going to walk and he's going to get all involved in like sex trafficking awareness now. Watch, that'll be his cause celeb. That's his way back in, Diddy. You want to hire old Pugs Moran, crisis management. I'll get you back on the straight and narrow. That's our slogan. We'll get you back on the straight and narrow, or, well, we're not going to give you your money back because this is all a shell game to begin with, but, you know, we'll apologize. Prosecutors are not going to get to have Dr. Dawn Hughes testify once again about why Combs' ex-lover, Jane, continued to date him even after his alleged brutal hours-long beatdowns. Those are what we've heard she's testified to. Judge Aram Subramaniam announced the ruling from the bench in Manhattan Federal Court Tuesday morning. Hughes, Dr. Hughes, if you will, testified earlier in the trial about the psychological impact of abuse in Combs' relationships with his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. So she was talking about it for Cassie. They want to bring her back for Jane. And the judge is like, nah, we're good. No, we're good. Nah, we don't need that. Your Honor, we'd love to have, Dr. Dawn Hughes come back up here and explain why Jane stayed. And the judge is like, nah, I think we get why she stayed. I think that's been made perfectly clear, which again is not good for the prosecution. All right, let's get back to Jane on the stand because this is a big day. It's cross-examination of Jane. I think it's Jenny Geragos, the daughter of Mark Geragos, famed Hollywood celebrity lawyer. It's his daughter out here making daddy proud. It says here, Jane just told jurors, she is testifying under the protection of an immunity deal with prosecutors. Well, that's new. We didn't know that. Makes sense, though, because a couple of days ago, Jane told about how she drug-muled cocaine, bricks of ecstasy and cocaine and all that stuff. She talked about how she used to fly that stuff from Diddy's Beverly Hills house to his Miami mansion. So now we're understanding today, first thing, cross-examine. They got Jane on the stand. The first thing they say is, so you've got immunity, right? You made a deal. So you made a deal. Whatever implications come with people who make deals, we'll find out. Jane confirmed that if she testified truthfully, that she can't be prosecuted, even if incriminating details emerge. Like drug smuggling, yeah, that she's already admitted to. Jane told jurors that even as she is in court testifying against Diddy, she still loves him. She still loves him. Cross got her in the first 10 minutes to admit, one, she's got to deal with the prosecution, and two, she still loves Diddy. I still love him, she says. Terry Geragos asked Jane, you still love him currently? To which Jane responded, remember, Jane, an instrument for the prosecution. To which Jane responded, yes. Why, Diddy? Will you take me back? If you take me back, I will walk off the stand right now. What? The jury is seeing this. Prosecution, get your witness in order. This is humiliating. Jane explained that she's in therapy to learn more about why she kept going back to Diddy, despite the fact that he beat her and forced her to get drugged up and have sex with male escorts. Even though she only wanted to sleep with him, Jane on the stand said, I struggle with my why. I struggle with my why. Well, what's going on? What's going on, Jane? What's your excuse? Why do you want to keep going back? I struggle with my why. Oh, and did everybody applaud? Oh, she's struggling with her why. You go, girl. You go, like a fucking Oprah audience. You go, girl. She's struggling with her why. No, you know why she said that? Because she can't say, I just really loved Penthouse Life. Penthouse Life is, do you know what it's like just being with Diddy for a weekend? private jets, champagne, the best food you've ever had. I just really like that. And I'm willing to put up with a certain degree of, getting knocked around if I can be afforded that life. She can't say that, even though that's the impression that we've all gotten from her. And oh, folks, it gets worse today. Yeah, worse than her, the woman who's trying to bring Diddy down has a separate civil suit for like $10 million in the hopper. That woman sitting there telling the cross-examination, I still love him. Jane explained that she's in therapy and that she's struggling with her why. Why? But it's becoming more and more clear, Jane testified. Later, she added that at the end of one of the freak-off sessions, she would then get to make love to Diddy. Oh, Diddy liked the super sloppy seconds. She's all banged out and gross, and Diddy's like, I want some of that. That's weird. And she talks about how awful the sex was, and it went on for hours and hours and hours, but she just wanted to have sex with him at the end. Was she all broken up and in pain? She wanted sex with anybody. That was truly the only reason I endured these nights, so that I could end up just in bed with him alone, just have the love and affection with my partner. Then cross-examined, they tried to paint her narcissism or vanity, maybe. Jenny Geragos. I don't know what Jenny Geragos looks like, but, I'll tell you, there ain't nothing more entertaining than watching a homely, smart woman just intellectually dismantle a beautiful, dumb chick. And I think that may be what we're getting to here, because Jenny Geragos leans in after those first two, and she goes, are you a beautiful woman? To which Jane says, I am a beautiful woman. Geragos asked Jane if she tried to be sexy during her hotel nights and freak-offs. So get this. So Jenny Geragos, lawyer chick, sitting there looking at some 22-year-old Instagram model, right? Jenny Geragos, lawyer chick. And if you've seen Mark Geragos, I don't know what Jenny Geragos looks like. I'm guessing she's not as beautiful as the vapid Instagram model Jane. So Jenny goes, you're a beautiful woman, right? And Jane goes, you're damn right I'm beautiful, right? Like that. And I don't know how that's going to play with the women of the jury. We're just going to be like, oh, God, she's one of these. So she shows her lack of humility right there. And then Geragos asked Jane if she ever tried to be sexy during hotel nights, to which Jane said, this is what she said, I don't think I tried. I think I did. I was sexy. Now, her tone here, and again, we're not watching it on TV, but it's been described as, defiant. She was bragging, sitting there on the stand with her $10,000 rent paid for by the guy that she's testifying against, with another $10 million civil suit in the hopper, just waiting, saying she loves him, saying she's beautiful. It's just, Jane is not coming off well. She's coming off horribly to the jury. Remember how I told you that I thought there were moments when Cassie did not come across well? Well, Cassie seems like Mother Teresa compared to Jane. Jane, I am a beautiful woman. Geragos asks, did you ever try to be sexy for hotel nights? To which Jane responds, I don't think I tried. I think I did, and I was. Because you're a beautiful woman. Geragos then shot back. Thank you, Jane responded defiantly. So it was this little tete-a-tete where Jenny Geragos was brilliantly trying to show the most unlikable aspect of these Instagram models to the jury. The vanity. Of course I'm beautiful. Of course, this is my whole thing. Knowing full well that is not going to play well with some, housekeeper from Brooklyn who's, sitting on the jury here going, oh, really, darling? Oh. Some audio got played. The defense started playing some audio for the jury. We heard a whole bunch of stuff yesterday. The prosecution got their time at bat with all the audio. We heard, Diddy screaming and yelling and all of these things. Today, the defense got to play some things. The jurors first heard a March 2023 audio recording of Jane telling Diddy that she didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. The defense played audio today for the jury of Jane telling Diddy that she wants to, excuse my language, fuck or die trying. Jane's like, Diddy, baby, I just want to fuck or die trying. I don't know that's how it was said. Again, we didn't get to hear it. We're just reading published reports. I don't know the inflection. Jane then explained to the jury that she was referencing something Diddy said to her during a hotel night on Turks and Caicos, from which they got back the day before. Apparently, that was why she repeated it back to him. This was a quote from Diddy from the night before where he says, I'm going to fuck or die, Jane testified. Okay, but again, I need more context. And then why did you say it? And what way did you say it? What were you doing when you said it? I mean, were you sitting in a drive-through with Jack in the Box when you turned to him and said, I fuck or die? Or were you like, you know, getting oiled up for a freak off when you said it? Because two different messages. One wacky, crazy, random thing to say in the drive-through with Jack in the Box. The other sounds like she's down for a freak off. Jane then went on to say all kinds of good things about Diddy. Terry Geragos, running cross-examination with Jane, asked her to tell jurors some positive things that came out of her time dating Diddy. She doesn't have to do that. Jane doesn't have to do that. But the cross, obviously, Diddy said to his defense people, no, you know what? I still own her. You can just have her, you know, if you want to do. So Cross says to her, the prosecution witness, Jane, someone who's a victim, they say, the Cross says, can you say some nice things about Diddy? And she goes, okay. And she starts mentioning nice things about Diddy. What must the prosecution have been doing at this point? Just burying their hands in their heads in their hands? Going, shut up. You don't have to answer. You can say, I don't have anything nice to say about him. But no. She goes on and tells a lovely story about how Diddy got her into religion and gospel music and watching church on TV together. I mean, she's softening the edges. She's not even a prosecution. Right now, she is essentially a weapon for the defense. Terry Geragos asked, can you say some positive things about your relationship? To which she talked about her time dating Diddy. She said, he just gave me different perspectives on life. He introduced me to gospel. She explains that Combs would tune into sermons on TV and the pair would watch them together. And then when they finished, they would talk about what they just heard. Bible study. She just sat there, a witness for the prosecution. She sat there on the stand and talked about how Diddy was like, you know, getting her to confront her wicked ways. Look, bullshit or not, why is she saying this? Why is she helping him walk? Unless that's part. You know, I'll tell you, man, if this testimony is as damaging as I think it is, first of all, they need to get her off the stand. The Cross probably wants to keep her on there for as long as possible. It was rumored that she was going to be on the stand for 6 days, which is all of this week. I cannot imagine the prosecution they want to get her out of here. She explained that Combs would tune into sermons and TV, and the pair would then talk about what they'd just seen. They also played another voice message from Diddy in which Diddy refers to her, Jane, as his crack pipe. Sean Diddy Combs once joked in a voice message to Jane that he was so addicted to her that he was now calling her his crack pipe. Jurors heard a voice note that Diddy sent to Jane in March of 2023 after the duo returned from a trip to Turks and Caicos. Here's what Diddy said in the voice message. Hey, baby, it's all good. Get your rest. You are the crack pipe. Combs could be heard saying, should I call you my crack pipe? Jane responded in a voice note to Combs, also played for the jury, in which she responded, crack pipe is so real for both of us, baby. It's definitely mutual. Oh, these fucking idiots. All right, you know what? For years, for years. I thought, stupid, dumb white people in love had to live down Pam and Tommy Lee, right? That was like our thing. We're like, now I didn't know black people were in dumb, stupid love romances too. This is what we got here, Jane and Diddy. This is like the urban version of Pam Anderson and Tommy Lee. I love you, baby. I love you, baby. I'm going to drive the boat with my dick, baby. These idiots. God, is this why I don't have girlfriends? Because I'm not willing to be an idiot. I'm not willing to be one of these, I love you, Pookie. Use my crack pipe, baby. Crack pipe is so real, baby, for both of us. It's definitely mutual. Why do I think she sounds like Beyonce? I don't know. Jane started talking. Cross started getting her to talk about what was her understanding from the get-go of her place in the relationship. Jane admitted from the very beginning that she was aware that Diddy had other women. What term did he use? Terry Geragos asked Jane. Polyamorous, Jane responded. Jane said she didn't mind at first being just one of many girls because she believed he was dating everyone evenly. But then he started to go out in public with another woman, and it looked like a monogamous relationship. And that's when things started bothering me. Jane. This is Jane. Since she and Combs hadn't come out publicly, it bothered her, she explained to the jury. Okay. Again, another devastating thing for her to be saying as a weapon for supposedly the prosecution. Because this just kind of fuels all of the things we already thought about Jane here. She's vain. She was in it for the money. She's an Instagram model. When times got tough, she didn't get a job. She went and signed up for OnlyFans. She's telling all kinds of, stories from her perspective to make her out to be, Laura Ingalls Wilder, when in reality, she's a bad boy. Well, no, she's not a bad boy contract girl, but she's fully comfortable with her place in the beginning as one of Diddy's harem. But then she sees that another one is getting more attention and she's jealous. Fangs come out, claws come out, whatever that is. She's jealous. She wants to be the number one girl. We heard this before with Cassie. Cassie wanted to be the number one girl. This is a pattern that we're hearing with these girls. They were so tortured and their lives were so awful. And this was the worst possible thing. And the only thing that could make it better is if they were the number one girl. They didn't want to get out. They wanted a promotion. And when they didn't get the promotion they wanted, they filed and they started talking all of this stuff. And again, Diddy did a lot of stuff that he should be doing some time in jail. He's been in jail now for like a year, right? Time served. Jane said she didn't mind at first because she thought all the women were being dated evenly. But then he started showing up on red carpets with another girl and she got jealous, and that's when things changed. And she was really upset because Diddy had never allowed her to be seen in public with him. It's because you're a side piece, honey. You're a side piece. And that probably bothers you. Because you're probably beautiful. We haven't seen you, but I imagine you are a knockout. We know Cassie was a knockout. Jane also talked on the stand today about how she tried to get Diddy into rehab. She said that Diddy looked jaundiced and needed rehab. She told jurors of his state towards the beginning of their relationship. I felt he was developing jaundice, Jane said of Combs' appearance in 2021. His gums were gray, probably from all the drug use. I felt that his hands were shaky, probably from overconsumption of alcohol. Then on a flight to Thailand, I told him about a nice rehab that I knew of through friends. And this was the response she got from Diddy. What the hell you think I need rehab? Jane said. Combs shouted at her. I was like, well, yeah, look at you, Jane testified. Okay, so it's the mommy thing, right? She sees his situation, his potential of dependency. She sees that as a mommy opportunity. This will be my lane. I will be the one that gets him straight. I will be the one. I will be his rock for when he fights this battle. Sure, that's what she's thinking. Because I'm sorry, I have no grace for this woman anymore. After all of these days on the stand, everything that I've seen out of her seems to be a manipulation. So I'm sure that's what she was thinking. I'm going to be his rehab mommy. I'm going to be the one that when he gets clean and he goes on that book tour and he's talking about who he's thanking, I'm going to be his Sharon Osbourne. I'm going to be for him what Sharon was for. That's what she's thinking. That's her inside track. Let's see here. Oh, we then learn, okay, so Terry Geragos, remember, this is the defense attorney for Diddy. Diddy's not being charged with like drug crimes per se, not like, So the defense attorney for Diddy starts opening up all the drugs that he was on. Why? Well, because that's kind of a thing. Should the jury break bad on him, at least they might be able to go, well, he was a drug addict. He was, let's have a little bit of a heart for somebody who was in the throes of addiction. So they're laying that down a little. And they got Jane here. So Jenny Geragos, she says, Jenny Geragos asked about whether she knew Diddy was on antidepressants. Jane responded, yes. Jenny Geragos said, you wanted him to get off Xanax and Prozac? Yes. As you listed them, I didn't even know all of that, Jane answered. All right, so again, the argument there, we don't know he was on Prozac and Xanax, prescribed by a doctor. Are those legitimate things that he needed for his mental health? Is the defense trying to establish that she was actually being reckless, trying to get him off these things? I don't know. Are they going to try and say this is an example of him trying to treat his severe mental problems, which explains this insane behavior? I don't know. Throwing all these things up there for possibilities for the jury. Well, he's not in his right mind. He's on drugs. He's a little bit of this. He's a little bit of that. Jane then spent a pretty good amount of time on the stand today describing Diddy as a cuck. That's right. The unflattering term that young men today, not me, not grown-up men. Grown-up men don't say it. Let's the MAGA grown-up men do, I guess, because they spend a lot of time online where this word is used. Cuck is not something that's, in my... I have a CU word that I float out every once in a while when shit gets really bad, but it ain't cuck. So I don't use that word. But she explained what she felt about Diddy and his situation, and she described his sexual fetish as being a cuck fetish. Sean Diddy Combs' ex-girlfriend explained to jurors the cuck kink that the hip-hop mogul had. Jane testified that she researched the term, which is short for cuckold, because she says, I just wanted to try a deep dive into all the reasons why cucks derive so much pleasure from watching their women with other men. So that's what a cuck is. A cuck is a guy who likes watching that thing. Except that's not really what it is. What a cuck is somebody who is being forced. A cuckold is a man who is forced to watch his woman be essentially raped by another man and can do nothing about it. It's the powerless thing. That's what it is. I think it's a different thing when a guy just wants to watch his chick get railed. I think and she's got a theory on what that could be. So let's delve into that. Remember, she started doing research into cuck and all that other stuff. She learned that cucks could also have a lot of bi-curiosity. All right, here we go. Bi-curiosity. This is the very first time that we have had the subject of Diddy's curiosity, sexually speaking, as far as his orientation is concerned. It's the first time that we've heard any mention of this. Now, remember, leading up to this trial, he and Meek Mill, he and Diddy, or he and Jay-Z, and all of this stuff. And then nothing. I've heard every breakdown, every position. We've heard all the dirty details about the freak-offs. Diddy doesn't seem to be involved, other than just standing in the corner filming and pleasuring himself. So here we go now. Now we've got Jane introducing the concept that Diddy, at least to her thinking, might be a bit bi-curious. She learned that cucks could also have a lot of bi-curiosity that they're too ashamed to experience for themselves. So they use the women in their lives to venture out into this curiosity instead of actually doing the act themselves, Jane told the jury. Wow, articulately. If that is what that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Jane said Combs used the words voyeurism and escapism to explain what he was into. But, she says, and here's a quote now, I would use the word cuck for him, Jane testified. Cucks could also have a lot of bi-curiosity that they're, that's what she said. I'm sorry, that was a quote. For some reason, I saved that quote twice because I thought it was so good. Let's see here. She described, Jane did. We've heard a lot about the freak-offs. We've heard a lot about the preparation for the freak-offs, the people involved in hiring of the escorts and the accumulation of the requisite amounts of baby oil. We've heard all of the details. We've even heard about how they can go on for 2 to 3 days. And, occasionally there'll be a break in the middle where Diddy might run off to go fight Suge Knight, right? We've heard all of these stories. What we haven't heard, not unlike Jesus the teen years, we haven't really heard anything about what happens after the freak off. Like, how does it wind down? Like, when do you know you're done? And what's it like when everybody's gone and it's just you covered in baby oil and fucking candles burning down everywhere? What is the mood? What is going on? So Jane gave us those details. They'd watch Dateline. That's right. That's how Diddy would wind down from a freak off. Everybody would leave and Diddy and Cassie would get into bed and they would watch Dateline. Combs defense lawyer Jenny Geragos asked Jane on Tuesday morning, what was his favorite show? Dateline. Replied Jane, who's testifying as a government witness. After the freak-offs or hotel nights where the rap mogul would watch Jane have sex with escorts, Jane would rub his feet and put on NBC's Dateline to help him sleep, she told jurors. Isn't that nice? Nice little kind of calm ease in there. More about, remember, so the freak-off partners, we learned about the Punisher. He was the male escort. We learned about him. He's very interesting, the Punisher. We learned about Sly. Sly was a male porn star. Sly tried to blackmail him. We learned that yesterday for 10 grand. Sly was going to release a videotape or something or talk or Sly. And then remember I told you there was like another guy. I think I was calling him Doug. Well, I forgot about him. It's Paul. Paul is the other guy. And Paul is the one who has the added bonus of being Diddy's personal trainer, right? Well, Jane talked about Paul today. And I got to tell you, if you're Paul, if you're sitting at home all these years later and you're probably just a personal trainer somewhere. You hear this, you're like, good on you, Jane. Because Jane sang the praises of Paul. As apparently Paul's a good lover. She didn't mind doing freak-offs with Paul. Sean Diddy Combs' girlfriend Jane compared their freak-off trio with Paul to the famous NBA players of Jordan, Kobe, and Shaq. Yeah. When Combs and his one-time girlfriend Jane partook in sex marathons with Paul, who was also Diddy's personal trainer, Diddy called them a trifecta. Jane, who said she normally didn't like having sex with anyone but Combs, said she had, quote, good feelings about her time with Paul. Woo, Jane liked Paul. And Combs and Jane compared themselves and Paul to, that's what I told you, Kobe Bryant. All right, Jane was Kobe, Diddy was Michael Jordan, and Paul was Shaquille O'Neal. I think Paul was big, maybe. Maybe Paul was large. Then there turned into a little bit of a fight, a little bit of a tense exchange. I think at some point Jane started to realize that she was becoming a tool, an instrument for the defense. Jane and Jenny Geragos had a little back and forth. They had to take a break afterwards. Geragos grilled Jane about gifts that Diddy gave her after Jane testified about being jealous when Combs bought expensive gifts for other women. Geragos asked Jane, what is a Bottega bag? To which Jane quipped back snarkily, I'm sure you have one. So I don't know what that is. A Bottega bag. I don't know what that is. And I have neither a wife, a girlfriend, or a 20-something daughter. So I have not had to price handbags recently. So I don't know what that is, but maybe it's a nice one. So anyway, Jenny Geragos, the attorney, says to Jane, "What is a Bottega bag?" To which Jane responds, "I'm sure you have one, bitch." See what I mean? Jane is not coming across. She's coming across like an aggressive girl dog, at a dog park with other dogs, other girl dogs. Geragos then asked how much a Bottega bag costs, to which Jane shot back, "How much does my body cost?" Okay, so again, these are all moments that are not resonating well with the jury. And they can't be, because they're not resonating well with me. And I started out this case about as in the middle as anybody. I knew nothing about this case. But this girl, Jane, now getting in a back and forth about their expensive handbags and her $10,000. This is not playing well. She does nothing. She has no job, and she wants more. Does she think this is playing well with the jury? What is a Bottega bag, Jane? I'm sure you have one. How much does one cost, Jane? How much does my body cost? At which point Jane asked for a short break. And everybody kind of calmed down for a minute. There you go. So a little bit of a moment between Jenny Geragos, attorney for Diddy, and accuser of Diddy, Jane, on the stand. They've been showing jurors a bunch of sext messages, sexy texts and all that, from Jane to Diddy. They're attempting to undermine her testimony that she was victimized. So here are some of the texts that the jury's been shown, texts that Jane sent to Diddy. "What fantasy do you want to have?" Jane wrote in one more message to Diddy, one of the tamer ones, it's noted here. Jurors have heard testimony and seen messages that back up Jane's claim that she didn't want to keep having sex with other men. We've seen those. We've seen those texts yesterday. I don't want to do this anymore. So we know that she was not all in, and Diddy knew that because she made that clear. So she made that clear, but that she did also want to please Combs, who repeatedly threatened to stop paying her $10,000 rent if she didn't go along with him. Okay, the defense tactic of airing the victim sexts was also used by Combs' attorneys during the cross-examination of Cassie. Yeah, we saw this with Cassie. Cassie also sent Diddy texts that, earlier texts definitely say that she wasn't into it, but these texts say that she was into it. So, do we know? We don't know. I don't know. All right. That's it, guys. That's it for today. I think they're going to, so we've got more of Jane tomorrow. The cross is going to continue of Jane. Day 21. Hopefully the prosecution could maybe get a victory here, but man, oh man, this is so one-sided. I can't even pretend like that. My prediction isn't that Diddy's going to walk. My prediction is if he doesn't walk, I will have no faith in the justice system anymore, because I am just not seeing the prosecution's case being made. Diddy or didn't he with me, Pugs Moran, here exclusively on Radio Misfits, radiomisfits.com. Like, follow, subscribe, do all of that stuff. We'll be back tomorrow with day 21 of the Sean Diddy Combs trial. I'm Pugs Moran. It's Diddy or didn't he on radiomisfits.com.